No, that's gonna make my brain hurt during class. Okay. All right. Let's get started today with a little bit of breath work. So, finding a comfortable seated position, closing your eyes, just dropping your awareness into your heart center. And as you inhale and exhale, I just want you to feel how the expansion of the lungs puts some compression on the chest, on the heart. So every time we breathe, we are actually massaging our heart. Now I want you to watch the length of your inhale and then watch the length of your exhale. Do a couple rounds of that, just watching your breath, maybe counting it just to see what length it actually is. And then notice which one is longer, the inhale or the exhale. And I want you to lengthen out the shorter one to match the longer one. All the while, you're just noticing the sensation of the breath in your chest. And I want you to try to lengthen out both the inhale and the exhale by 1 to 2 counts. Whenever you slow down and bring awareness to your breath, you might notice that you got a little bit more saliva in your mouth. You might notice your body yawning. You might notice your belly gurgling. And these are all things that are showing you that your body is actually moving into a more relaxed state. Your nervous system is downshifting a little bit. And now see if you can just hold the breath between the inhale and the exhale at both ends. Just for 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, whatever feels good in your body. Just a couple more breaths like this. Beautiful. We're going to start off on our sides today. I'm going to start off with some shoulder and neck work, but also creating more space through the side body. So the basic position is just on your side. You want to try to line yourself up all in one line. So try not to have the feet forwards or backwards. And if it's possible, stack one foot on top of the other. And you're just going to be on your elbow to start. And you are softening your rib cage. So I'm on my right side. You're softening those ribs kind of down towards where your right elbow is resting on the mat. So there's a gentle reach happening as you melt those ribs down, and you can relax into your shoulder. So you kind of allow a soft shrug. We're not pulling it up towards the ear, but we're allowing for a soft shrug as we just relax into that shoulder joint. And if it feels uncomfortable at all, you can start to put some energy into it and lift out of that shoulder joint. Just really allowing gravity to work both the side body and that shoulder. And it might feel good to drop the head down towards the ear, or it might feel best to just keep it in line with the spine. So kind of that gentle curve without really cranking it up, because that's going to put a lot of unhappiness into the neck. So I would say either drop the head down so your ear is resting on the shoulder or towards the shoulder, or just keep the head kind of neutral, just following the curvature of the spine upwards. And you're welcome to stay right here. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, however, you're going to press up onto your hand. That hand just extends in that line forwards towards the top of the mat. And the closer you bring your hand to your hip, the more intense the stretch is going to be through your side body. We're doing the exact same thing. We're allowing that shoulder to relax. We're allowing the rib cage to melt towards the hand. And then you can drop the head or continue that curvature of the neck upwards. And you want to see if you can lock out your elbow if you're in this position, so that you're bone stacking, so that you don't really have to use much muscular strength here. You can just kind of stack the bones and let the shoulder rise up, and then maybe even use the shoulder as a little pillow. If you're on your arm, you're going to come back down onto the elbow. And then we're going to take our legs. So again, I'm on my right side. I'm going to leave my left leg where it is, and I'm going to bring that right leg straight out in front of me. So if you're on your left side, you'll just swap. Your left will be on the bottom, your right will be on top. And so I'm looking for this nice 90-degree angle. I want to flex my feet and really reach through my heels as if I'm extending my heels into the wall or into the floor. And then from there, that right elbow is going to walk over a little bit. The left elbow is going to come down. And we move into a twist. I'm using my upper body to help rotate my chest and my belly down. And then I want to think about taking this top hip and folding it down into the right inner thigh. So I'm hugging the front hip points together towards the inner thighs. And I'm using my elbows and my shoulders to rotate my chest more open towards the mat. You can stay upright if you'd like. If it feels good to take the elbows a little wider, come down a little lower, you can do that. Or placing the head or chest on a block, your hands or the floor. Do you want to keep your legs active? So just continuously reaching through my heels. And you could always come back to that breath that we started with. So finding a nice long inhale, a gentle pause, a nice long exhale, and a gentle pause. And just being aware of the sensations in your body, not just the breath, but also what's going on in the pose. Making any adjustments that are needed. Gently bending the knees, pressing yourself up. And we'll swap sides. Coming back into that nice long line on the elbow. Lining up your legs, stacking the legs if possible. Letting the left rib cage or that bottom rib cage sink towards the elbow and relaxing into the shoulder. I just got a bunch of little adjustments through my ribs. So I let that shoulder rise up. And again, you can just keep the curvature of the spine with the head, or you can drop the head down. Always coming back to your breath. Relax the opposite shoulder. That hand might be out in front of you for support. You want to really let the shoulder soften. You're welcome to stay right here on your elbow. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you take the arm out in line with the rest of the body. Again, the closer you bring that hand, the more intense the stretch is going to be. When we're allowing the rib cage to melt down towards the hand, the shoulder to gently shrug, And then finding a comfortable place for the head. Relaxing the other arm, even as it's used for support. Coming back to your breath. Gonna lock out that elbow as much as you can so that you muscles or you bone stack. If you're up on your elbow, or sorry, up on your hand, you'll come back to the elbow. I'm gonna keep the top leg where it is, but swing that right leg out in front of you. Looking for that 90-degree angle with the legs. Flexing both feet, reaching through the heel. And then moving that bottom arm over to make space for the other arm to begin to rotate the chest down towards the mat. And again, you're taking your top hip and you're really folding it down towards that inner thigh, hugging the upper inner thighs together, keeping the legs nice and strong, and using the upper body to rotate the chest a little bit more. And again, you can stay on your elbows if you'd like to come a little deeper. You widen the elbows, or maybe take the chest and forehead to a block or down to the mat. None of this, bend the elbows, and we're going to stay on our belly. So you'll bring the legs back and roll around flat onto the hips. And then we're going to crisscross the arms. So I'm going to take the left arm closer to you and the right arm further away. And you're just crossing them in front of each other. Now you are going to walk those hands as far out as is comfortable as you tie yourself into a knot. And then either keeping the head Again, just along with the curvature of the spine, or dropping the chin down towards the bicep muscle. And trying to relax into this as much as you possibly can when it feels like your arms are being ripped off. But as we expose the backside of the body strongly here and open up through the shoulder joints, bring your breath into your back body. So as you're inhaling, really try to expand through your back body as much as you can. And soften through your back body as much as you can on your exhale. Slowly and very gently, I like to walk my fingers forward and then take that front arm forward and slowly pull it back. Ooh. Up. Just take a second to rest in Sphinx pose. Give the shoulders a little break. Ooh. And then we'll swap sides. So right arm is going to be further back towards you or closer to you. And left arm will be out in the front. And then we again tie ourselves in a knot, trying to rip our own arms off. And you might notice that one side is much easier than the other. For me, this is much easier. Finding out if you'd like to keep the curvature of the spine or drop the head down. And bringing your awareness into your back body, using the breath to open up the back body even more with each inhale and soften it a bit more with each exhale. Again, we'll slowly come out of this, whatever way feels best for you. And this time, let's bring one hand on top of the other and then rest the forehead on top of the hands. Pull really big breaths into your belly and low back. Hmm. Hmm. All right, so now we're going to open up the shoulders the opposite way. So you're going to take your right arm out next to you, fingers pressing down into the mat. And this left hand is going to come around right next to your left shoulder, elbow pointing up. And then you're going to roll yourself onto your right side. And as you do that, walk the right fingertips away, dropping the right ear down. You can also bring a block and under the head. And this left leg is going to drop back like a kickstand. And I'm using my left arm on the floor to gently press myself deeper into the pose. Slowly releasing yourself back center. And we'll switch sides so that left arm will extend out, the right hand will come in. We roll over onto the left side, walking the left fingertips away as we go. Right foot becomes a little kickstand. Right hand is active. It's pressing into the mat to open us up a little bit more deeply. And once we're all nestled in, reconnecting to the breath. And slowly come back center. Bring both hands under your shoulders. Giving yourself a gentle cobra. Pressing into your hands, pull the elbows down towards your hips. Send your heart forward and just keep your head in a nice long line with the rest of the spine. And lower the head down. We inhale, lift the head up. Put those elbows in, drag them back. And exhale down. Inhale up. And exhale down. One more. Inhale up. And exhale down. Draw your belly up and away from the floor so you engage your abdominals, and you're going to press into the mat, press back into child's pose. And coming forward. And let's come up into a down dog to stretch all that out. Pedal through your feet, stretching out the undersides of the feet. Wiggling the hips, lengthening the low back up and away from the belly. Going back down onto your knees, flipping yourself over. I'm going to come onto our back for some hip work. So I'm going to just show you these two poses first so that you're not trying to follow once we're already in a pose. So this pose is going to start off as just a reclining pigeon. So you'll have the right ankle over the left knee, and then you'll either be pulling the back of the thigh towards you, or you'll be pulling the front of the knee towards you. From there, after we spend a few moments in that pose, this whole pose is just going to rotate from the belly button down. So I'm going to stay in this position in my legs, and I'm just going to drop my left leg and right foot to the floor, okay? I like to create stability with my left hand on the foot, and then you're going to take that top hip, that right hip, and pull it down. It's not going to come to the floor, but you want that suctioning action. And you're going to feel this somewhere through the glute, IT band, outer thigh area, okay? So that's where we're going to go with it, but we're starting in the pigeon pose. So right ankle over left knee, grab hold of the back of the the back of the thigh or the front of the shin. Just gently drawing that right ankle towards your chest. And you're going to release that leg and just rotate the lower body to the left. So left leg to the floor, right foot to the floor. And then think of gently drawing the right hip down towards the mat. Always coming back to your breath. We're going to slowly come out of this pose, but hang on to that right foot. So you're going to bring the right foot into the right hand. Now you can bring the left foot to the floor or let it long, but we're coming to have happy baby. So kind of like an upside down lunge. You're just using that right hand to try and pull the foot back over top of the knee. And then if you are taking that left leg long, see if you can start to press the left thigh towards the mat. Just softening into that right hip joint. And gently releasing, bringing that right foot down onto the mat, crossing the left ankle over the right knee, and then bringing that thigh in towards you, grabbing either the back of the thigh or the front of the shin. And you're gently bringing that left ankle more towards your heart. Try to relax your shoulders, let the head relax, the jaw, the tongue, and move back into your breath. Hmm. Hmm.
And then releasing that leg, and we're going to rotate the lower body over to the right. So the outer right leg comes to the mat, left foot comes to the mat. You're going to encourage that left hip down towards the floor. Slowly come out of this pose, bringing the left foot with you, bringing it into the left hand. Right foot's either going to come down onto the mat or lengthen down the mat. And we're working this left heel right on top of the knee as much as you can get it, gently drawing the heel down through the knee towards the floor. And then if you got that leg extended, you're going to send the right thigh towards the floor. Try to soften into your left hip. Gently releasing, bringing that left foot down onto the mat. Right foot comes down onto the mat. Walk your heels back as close towards your hips as you can get them. Spread all 10 toes. Let the arms relax out to the side. Planting the heels down, lift your toes, and then press through your heels, lifting the hips up towards bridge. And I want you to focus more on pushing the hips up than on arching the back. So in theory, you kind of want to keep a nice flat plank from your shoulders to your knees. So you're actually thinking, instead of like pushing your hips way up, you're thinking of pushing those thigh bones, the heads of the thigh bones up. At the same time, gently hugging the knees in and pushing your feet away. Slowly rolling down one vertebrae at a time. Grab the backs of the knees, rock yourself all the way up. I'm going to come into double pigeon. So, double pigeon, we're going to have left leg on the bottom to start. You are going to line up your shin with the edge of your mat and line up the very center of your shin, the center of your shin with the center of your heart. Okay, flex that foot. It's very important in this pose to have both feet flexed. and you're going to stack your other foot on top of that knee. So that as you look down, because we're heel on top of knee, knee on top of heel, shin is on top of shin. So if you look down and you can see that bottom leg, you need to take that foot forward. So again, it is perpendicular, parallel to the edge of your mat. And this pose is going to look different on every body, every day, every hour of every day, probably. Some days you're going to be really elevated like I am today. It's really, again, important to have the feet flexed. That protects the knee joints. And if you need support under those knees, you can bring a block or pillow anywhere in these spaces. What we're really looking for is for you to sit up tall, be able to breathe. And if you're super bendy and those shins are lying flat on top of each other, you can start to fold this forwards. Always coming back to our breath. You're folded forward, come on back up. I'm going to take a gentle twist here. So right hand behind you, left hand to your knee, gently rotating over your shoulder. Winding, and then opening up, and in between sides, we're just going to take a gentle straddle. I definitely feel that I just traveled across the planet. Oh, take it upright first. And then if it's available to you, you can start to fold forward. Let's take a couple breaths here. Rolling up, we're going to take the right foot now parallel to the side of your mat, line up the center of the shin, right up at the center of your heart. Take the left heel up onto the right knee, flexing both feet. And we're trying to nestle that shin on top of shin. Maybe we're there, maybe we're not. And then working on sitting up nice and tall. And again, if you do have shin stacked on top of shin and they're resting on each other, you can start to fold forward. For those of us that are a little more elevated, we just work on sitting up nice and tall. Always coming back to the breath.
you folded forward, go ahead and come on back up. And we'll take a gentle twist here. Left hand behind, right hand across. Rotating to look over the left shoulder. And we're unwinding, and we move back into that straddle. Oh. Again, just working on sitting up. And if you're able to sit up comfortably, then you can start to tip forward. Rolling up, pulling those knees in, and we'll come onto our backs for Shavasana. So however you'd like to take your Shavasana today, maybe legs up the wall or some support under the knees or just here flat on the back. Let's take about 10 really conscious aware breaths before we let the breath go and just rest completely into Shavasana.
Beginning to deepen your breath. Feeling your fingers, toes, ankles and wrists, elbows and knees, shoulders and the hips. Just moving around, however feels good to you. Oh. Making your way up to seated, whatever fashion feels good to your body. Closing your eyes, bring your awareness back to your breath. See if now you're able to lengthen out that inhale and exhale another second or two on each end. Maybe that pause can be held just another split second or second. Is your heart beating slower? Opening your eyes, bring your hands back to your heart center. Take a second to just thank this body for all the amazing things it does. Flooding every cell with gratitude. Putting a little extra love to all of your joints that we worked on today. Thanks so much for spending time with me. Namaste.